Hello viewers, welcome to this lecture on botany where I shall be discussing gymnosperms, general characteristics and classification. The objectives of this particular lecture are to know about the origin of gymnosperm, to know about the different characteristic features of gymnosperms, to know about their classification and the trend in which the classification has changed from ancient to modern, and also a little bit idea about their usage. We can clearly see that in the Devonian period, there was some pro-gymnospermous plant which has given rise to the gymnospermous plant. And during Carboniferous and Permian, there has been different groups like Cordaitelis, like the Pentoxylelis, like the Lyginopteris group, but some of them has become fossilized, they have become extinct. But strangely, the two major groups, the Gingopsids and the Cycadopsids, they have originated from the Carboniferous period and they have somehow managed to live in the present day era, and that's why these two are called living fossil. Apart from these two, there are the Ctopsids and the Pinopsids or the Coniferopsids, which has also arisen from the Permian period and Triassic period, and they have still survived. So there are four major lines of gymnosperms which are surviving till date. They are the Cycadopsids, the Gingopsids, the Ctopsids and the Coniferopsids. This particular plant is a reconstructed genus of Medulosa noei, which is actually a plant from Devonian period and is believed to be the ancestor of present day gymnospermous plant. In this particular group, we can see the Pro-Gymnospermophyta and the Angiospermophyta. They are representing the two extreme groups. But the groups like Cycadophyta, Gingophyta, Coniferophyta and Ctophyta are in between. And very strange, the closest neighbor of Angiospermophyta is the Ctophyta. And in between there was the Chaetoneopsida and the Cycadiodophyta. They are both fossilized or extinct. So only before Angiosperm we have four extant genera or extant groups. They are the Ctophyta, Coniferophyta, Gingophyta and Cycadophyta, of which Cycadophyta and Gingophyta are living fossils. Very interesting, these scorpion flies, ancestor of these scorpion flies were the pollinators for extinct gymnosperms. Somehow majority of gymnosperms, they have become extinct, but the scorpion flies after evolution still continues to thrive. This is another very interesting Calligrammatid lacewings, which is an extinct genus resembling butterfly. They also actually help in the pollination of gymnospermous plant. Coming to the characteristic feature, they are more ancient than angiosperms. About 200 million years back they have arisen, and in the warmer areas there are few gymnosperms like Cycas and Araucaria, but they are mostly remaining in the temperate and colder areas of the earth. They include some very big trees like the Californian redwood tree, which is the Sequoiadendron sempervirens, which is more than 111 meters long. You can see the height here. And at the same time, they also include the smallest or the dwarfest plant of the plant world, the Zamia pygmea, which is only 26 centimeter long. Coming to the secondary growth, actually gymnospermous wood do have secondary wood, but this secondary wood is without proper xylem trachea or phloem is without companion cell, except Cnitum, where we can see the vascular bundles are clearly resembling angiosperms. So that's why Cnitum is considered to be the connecting link between gymnosperm and angiosperm. As we know, these are non-flowering plant. So the reproductive structure is represented by the male cone and the female cone. Usually the male cone is non-woody and borne in cluster, and female cone are woody and are lesser in number. The seeds are open seeded, and that is why the group is called gymnosperms, that is naked seeded plant, and the male and the female gametophyte are represented by the microgametophyte, which is containing the pollen grain or which is representing the pollen grain, and the female gametophyte represent the ovule. So the reproductive characters include that the pollination is mostly brought about by wind or they are anemophilous. The male gametophyte produce two male gametes or sperms, of which one is functional and the microspore has 3 to 5 nuclei. Very interesting, sometimes more than one pollen grain can fertilize more than one egg, and that is why polyembryony is seen in some of the gymnospermous members. External water is not required for the transport of male gamete. Instead, the pollen tube is formed by the male gametophyte, and that is why siphonogamy like angiosperm is also present here. The seeds contain a food-laden tissue or endosperm, but this endosperm is formed before fertilization and is haploid in nature. And the seed dispersal mechanism is not common. Seeds have long dormancy period. The life cycle include the male and the female branches, then the flowers are not there, the cones are there. Then there is the megaspore and the microspore, which is producing the female and the male gametophyte, and finally it will fertilize to produce the oospore, embryo, seed and gymnosperm. In this way the life cycle continues, majority is diploid, only a minority is haploid. Gymnosperms became extinct because of some point. They do not exhibit vegetative means of reproduction. The dispersal method was limited. The woody tissue was absent. Bisexuality was not well developed. The ovules and seeds were unprotected, and of course the gene variation was not there. So naturally they were not showing any chromosomal alteration to survive in the present day world. And economically also they are less important in comparison to angiosperm. So people are also destroying these plants because they are considered as weed plant. Sahani in 1920 divided gymnosperm into two groups, Phylospermi and Stachiospermi. Actually, the Phylospermi include the cycadophytes and the Stachiospermi include the coniferophytes. If we consider the evolution of gymnosperm, it is basically the Cetophoraceous ancestor has given rise to moss, has given rise to pteridophytes, has given rise to gymnosperm, and we can see that this Gnetophyta is actually giving rise to the angiosperms in future. So this is something very interesting, that many of these plants which have arisen much later than pteridophytes and bryophytes, but because of their defective structure they have become extinct in the present day context. Coulter and Chamberlain 1910 divided gymnosperms into Cycadophyllicialis, which is extinct, Benedictalis, which is extinct, Cycadalis is surviving, Corditalis is extinct, Gingualis is surviving, Coniferalis and Natalis are also surviving. So these are the 7 major groups, and there are 4 major groups are surviving till date. Pant actually divided the divisions into 3: Cycadophyta, Chlamydospermophyta and Coniferophyta. The Cycadophyta include the cycads, Chlamydospermophyta include the cnitopsids, and the Coniferophyta include the coniferopsids. Andrew in 1961, he divided gymnosperms into 6 different group or order, and divisions include the Pteridospermophyta, Cycadophyta, Gingophyta, Coniferophyta, Gnetophyta, and there was some uncertain position because these plants were not surviving, they became extinct. So what we can see, there are 7 major divisions and there will be about 10 different orders. Sporn in 1965 divided gymnosperm into Cycadopsids, Coniferopsids and Gnetopsids, where Cycadopsids is the oldest and Gnetopsids is the recent group. Bayerhurst also more or less follow the same pattern. Cycadopsids represent the oldest group, Coniferopsid the middle group, and that include the Taxalis, which is the very economically important plant, and the Gnetopsids represent the recent gymnosperms connecting the angiosperms. There are some gymnospermous order, and that include the Cycadophyllicialis, which is represented by tree or small fern-like plant, and they are the sporangia are borne on leaves and they never formed cone. Then the Cycadioidalis or the Benedictalis, which was represented by trees with stems covered by armor of leaf base. the male sporophyll is frond-like and female sporophyll is representing corn-like structure. The pentoxylales represented by shrub. Here the female inflorescence contains numerous cone and they are attached to peduncle or a stalk. They do not have megasporophyll, ovuliferous scale or interseminal scale. The male flower are terminal and they are borne on dwarf shoot and unilocular sporangia is observed. But the last group which was extinct is Cordaitalis, represented by large tree, flat strap-shaped leaves and fructifications in cones. But all these characters were never seen in the present day. They have been recovered as fossil and reconstruction has been done, and now we know that gymnosperm had these fossil groups, at least 4, which are no longer seen in the present day world. Coming to the living gymnospermous order, they include the Cycadalis or the cycads, and as I told you, they are living fossil because they have lived from Mesozoic. More or less they look like a palm tree having male and female reproductive structure. The male cone is there, but the female megasporophyll is there. Gingoelis, another living fossil which flourished during early Mesozoic and represented by a single plant Ginkgo biloba. It is a medium-sized tree, flattened leaves, lobed in different ways, having dichotomy, and the male and the female flowers collected to strobili. The conifer represent a large group, and they include the pinus, cedrus, abies, juniper, cupressus, biota, etc. Conifers may also have tall trees and dwarf trees. The Sequoia gigantea, which lives for 4,000 years, can grow up to 300 to 400 feet. They are cosmopolitan. They are distributed in the northern and the southern hemisphere. They may be represented by large tree or shrub, needle-like leaves. The male flowers are borne in catkin-like clusters and female flowers represented by cones. The Nitalis, represented by Nitum, ephedra and Welwitschia, they are also plants which are most advanced. They do not have true cone. They are represented by cupules having typical perianth-like structure which resemble flower. And they also have characters which angiosperm-like xylem vessel and also the typical phloem character which is represented by companion cell, which normally is not seen in other gymnosperm. That's why the Nitum or the Nitalis is the highest order in the extant gymnosperm. Christian Haas in 2011 classified gymnosperm in a different way. There he included actually 4 different subclasses. These subclasses include the Cycadidae. The Cycadidae include a single order Cycadalis. The second one was Gingoidae, which include the order Gingoelis. The third subclass was Nitidae, which include 3 different order, Welwitschia, Nitalis and Ephedralis. And the fourth subclass was Pienidae, represented by order Pinealis and Orocarialis. Gymnosperms actually have different types of uses. The seeds of Pinus gerardiana is edible and they are eaten after roasting. Gymnospermous wood is economically very important and this wood is softwood. Actually, the outer wood is hardwood and the inner wood is softwood. And the softwood is without large sized vessels, so it is ideal for making furnitures. The needle-like leaves of Pinus or other conifer can be used in the making of fiber board. The gymnospermous wood which are used in the manufacture of paper pulp include Picea, Pinus, Larix and Abies. Gymnospermous secondary wood, like in Pinus, have a unique canal and this is called resin canal. And this resin canal include the semi-fluid secreted by special tube, and this include the typical oleoresin of turpentine, which is a very important organic solvent. Not only that, it will solidify on exposed to air and it actually help in protecting the plant from mechanical injury, and this particular resin is very important both in paint industry as well as in adhesive industry. Gymnosperm is also famous for different drugs. The thuja, which is also belonging to conifer, is producing different homeopathy drugs. At the same time, the drug ephedrine, which is obtained from highest order ephedra, which is representing the group of Natalis, is a gymnosperm, and this particular ephedrine is an alkaloid used in respiratory ailments including asthma. The coniferous forest, usually they provide a cool and soothing climate suitable for the health. There is a common human belief that if the air below the gymnospermous plant is taken up by human subject, then the general respiratory tract is getting cleared. And at the same time, there are different volatile medicinal compound which is produced by gymnospermous plant is also useful for treating diseased human, particularly the respiratory ailments. The pith or the central part of the stem of Cycas revoluta, they yield sago, which is a common starch, and that's why this plant is called a sago palm. Actually, it is not angiosperm, it is a gymnospermous plant. Similarly, the young leaves and strobili of Nitum are eaten as vegetables. Now, this particular plant is also having reproductive structure which is represented by the male and the female cupule. The male cupule is called the staminate cupule and the female cupule is called the ovulate cupule, and both in young stage can be consumed by human because of their protein rich status and also their medicinal importance. Gymnosperm to a great extent helps the Indian economy, and we can understand that to a great extent the Himalayas is having the gymnospermous plant, and this gymnospermous plant is preventing the soil erosion, and at the same time it is to a great extent supporting the rural economy prevailing in that particular area because they provide timber. Also, they are producing resin and other medicinally important compounds. There is a particular plant which is very common in the upper Himalayas, the Cedrus deodora or the deodar is the strongest of the Indian coniferous wood, and it has great demand for construction work and furniture. Not only that, previously the railway sleepers are also made from this deodar wood because of its hard texture. The government of India officially manufactures newsprint out of fir plant and Himalayan spruce, and actually otherwise if these plants would have not been there, straight away we have to import this particular newsprint from abroad, and that would have really given pressure on our foreign exchange. So we are saving a lot of foreign exchange by making the paper pulp from these fir and spruce trees. Apart from that, there are different local village bodies who are selling these products of local gymnospermous extract, and they are working marvel in different types of ailments, and that's why gymnospermous trees have lot of ethnobotanical importance. As we see that these are the seeds which are consumed as nuts, and this is the typical softwood of gymnospermous tree, and the softwood you can see there are annual rings, and these annual rings are actually produced by the summer wood and the winter wood, but there are the number of rings will actually determine how much old is the plant. Apart from that, they are helping in the manufacture of wooden planks and also wooden flooring. And this is ephedrine, which I have already said is obtained from ephedra, and this ephedra is actually a medicinally important plant. It is sometimes worshipped, and ephedrine is working against asthma. There may be different plants of cycas which are also economically beneficial. The cycas is actually consumed as vegetables sometimes. In some places it is worshipped. But a very strange thing, there is a particular group, the Zamia and the Microzamia, which was previously considered under the conifer, has now been transferred to the cycads. So the cycads now are really enriched with this Zamia and Macrozamia and their medicinal importance. So in this particular lecture, what I have done is I have discussed the different characteristic feature of gymnosperms. I have discussed the major groups of gymnosperms. I have stated their origin and I have shown which are the groups that are extinct and which are the groups that are still continuing to thrive, and with particular reference to some living fossils like the cycads and the ginkgo. And I have also characterized the major extant groups of gymnosperms, and towards the end I have discussed the different economic importance of Gymnospermous plant.